Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're going to conclude the May-June 2022 CSEC POB Paper 2. So we did question 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so this is question number 5. Before we continue, just want to mention that you can like and subscribe to the channel. You can jump into the description of this video and click on the links to go and see if you like to download some of the free past papers, and also if you want to purchase any of the multiple choice booklets. Alright, so let's just jump into question 5. Define the term unemployment, and so you get 2 marks for that. Now, unemployment can be defined as any member of the workforce, the labor force, that is actively trying to get a job but is unable to find one. That's what we call unemployed. If you're actively trying to get a job but you can find none. And so we know the labor force is normally persons of legal age to work. So all persons of legal age to work, whatever it is in your country, if you're actively trying to find a job and you're unable to find one, then that is called unemployment. So just like that, you would have gotten your 2 marks. Okay, part 2. List the different types of unemployment. Well, 3 different types of unemployment. So there are about 4 types of unemployment. You have your cyclical, you have your seasonal, you have your frictional, and you have your structural. So if you go to your textbook, if you have it, it's 378, and they outline the different types of unemployment. And of course, they only ask us to list, so we don't have to outline here or explain here, just to list. But just for, by the way, information, page 378 in the textbook have the main types of unemployment that we just mentioned. And of course, you can check the videos on the channel to go deeper into the types of unemployment. Okay, good. So number 5, part 3, outline one way in which a government can assist in reducing unemployment in its country. How can the government assist in reducing unemployment in the country? And so one of the best way to answer this one is to choose one of the types of unemployment up here, and then you look at ways to alleviate that type of unemployment. Like, for example, if you say we're looking at structural unemployment. Now, I guess you'll have to know the definition of that one. Structural unemployment occurs when there is a mismatch between the skills that are needed, where the skills that exist in the economy, and the jobs that are available. So for example, you might be someone who is more into, let's say, the financial sector, but the jobs are asking for more hands-on technical things. So there's a mismatch between skills and the jobs available. So that's why you'll be unemployed. So of course, what the government can do is, of course, train the workforce, train its population. So education, training, workshops, those kind of things can help to get persons up to speed with the necessary skills needed, and so that will reduce structural unemployment. You have things like cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment deals with the business cycle. And so that means that, there's a boom and bust in the business cycle. The business cycle is where you have economic expansion, growth, everything nice and rosy, and then you go into recession where things are down. So during the recession, when demand is down, people get laid off, and so that creates the cyclical unemployment. So what you can do now as a government is, of course, increase government spending in various ways. You can, do things like construction projects. You can, again, spend money to get the lower interest rates, where you can lower interest rates so that people can start borrowing more money. Things like that. Anything that would boost demand, such as lower interest rates, increased government spending in programs, in constructions, those kind of things. These can cause demand to increase, and so once demand picks back up, employment should pick back up. If you look at something like frictional unemployment, that's unemployment that occurs when you're moving from one job to the next, or also when you enter in the workforce for the first time. Right? That's the period between not having a job and getting a new job. That's frictional unemployment. And of course, to reduce that, the same thing applies. you can make sure that the economy is robust, the economy is in a good state, that jobs are flourishing. And of course, the government can use their own power to create jobs. So job creation will be one way in form of that type of unemployment, frictional. Make sure that you are putting policies in place, monetary policy, fiscal policy in place, that would encourage the creation of jobs in the economy. And of course, you have seasonal unemployment. That's where, like for example, tourism season, it's not all year round. And so sometimes persons would be laid off or reduce their working hours during the off season. And so of course, the government, again, can repurpose those persons, train them in different areas, give them the skills so that they can go do a next job during the off season. So you enhance their skills. Also, the government, for example, they can extend the season, like for example, tourism season. They can extend it by improving the tourism product. So is that just a seasonal thing? Flights coming in every day? No. Boats coming in every day? No. Or you can diverse your tourism product to education tourism, sports tourism, that kind of thing. One thing I need to mention is that structural unemployment also refers to geographical spacing, where, for example, you live in the rural area, but most of the jobs are in town. If you live in a large country, that could be problematic. And so what the government needs to do now is build up the rural area so they have jobs that can compete with the urban area, so that they can facilitate employment within that rural space. So those are ways in which the government just choose one, and it's outlines about 2-3 sentences, and you should get your 2 marks. All right, B. State 3 reasons why Caribbean nationals migrate to countries outside of the region. Why do we migrate to countries outside the region? Why do we experience the brain drain phenomena? When it comes to migration, you have what we call the push factors and the pull factors. This one is a very straightforward question. Why do we want to migrate? So some of the reasons would be, of course, to seek better employment opportunities, because as we stated, the Caribbean tend to have high unemployment, and so you might migrate to find a job. So to seek better employment opportunities. Of course, to get away from crime, if your circumstances in the country you're living in is poor, you might want to escape to get away from crime and those kind of things. Of course, you might be being discriminated against in your country, and so you might want to leave that country to go somewhere else where you might have better opportunity. Of course, you might have limited opportunities for growth in the Caribbean, and so you migrate to try and improve your prospects, to improve your opportunities for personal development, personal growth. And so, of course, that goes into education. So you migrate for education, you go overseas to learn, to university, and sometimes you don't come back, right? Because you find a job over there. Of course, there are other reasons why you might want to migrate. So this is more of a personal question in a sense, right? That why you want to migrate, the various reasons, family and friends, right? You might have family and friends overseas, and maybe your mommy gone up, and so you decide to migrate to be with your family. That's the next reason you might want to leave. Maybe where you're located now is very disaster prone. Maybe your house got destroyed or whatever, so you run away from certain natural disasters and those kind of things. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why persons would migrate, especially in the Caribbean, and so you can just, for this question, just apply what you know, and it will be easy for that one. So, but some easy ones: education, employment, freedom of choice, better opportunities, escape from poverty, escape from natural disaster, to escape from discrimination, to go and reunite with family and friends, meet them up there. Those are all reasons, and they only ask us to state, right? Just to state 3 reasons why you migrate to outside the region, right? And so those 3 reasons can work. All right, then we have number 5B2. Outline 1 negative effect on the Caribbean countries when their citizens migrate. Of course, the most popular one is what we call a brain drain, and that's where skilled and professional persons leave the Caribbean, and so they take that brain power, that skill, that professional level, that university graduated education. They take all of that and the big brain in a sense, and they take it elsewhere. And so now the Caribbean would lack that type of resource. So that's one negative impact that migration would have on the Caribbean. But there are others that exist out there, such as, of course, apart from the brain drain, labor shortage, where that's similar to the brain drain, but sometimes, remember, brain drain normally speaks to like the professional class and that kind of thing, but sometimes even field workers, hand workers, technical people, they leave to find work elsewhere, and so your country is devoid of that type of skill. Of course, we're looking at reduce output. For example, if your population start decreasing, your GDP would decrease. You might get a decrease in your tax that you would be collecting. Your population is decreasing. Your market size is decreasing. But even that could affect businesses, because some of who you're targeting might leave and gone elsewhere. So there are a lot of reasons, negative impacts that you can see that migration can have on a country, right? And so, again, application question, you can easily look at it, think about it, and see where you can come down on that particular question. But ultimately, the number one negative effect is the brain drain phenomenon. Of course, you can mention the fact that, remember I mentioned that some persons go up to meet family. And so that would mean that sometimes there's social disruption in the family fabric, where sometimes your mother migrates, your father migrates, leaving you and just a single parent to raise you. And so that can be very negative, on a household. All right, C1, define the term foreign investment. Define the term foreign investment. So foreign investment, or foreign direct investment, some people call it FDI. Foreign investment is when a person or company from one country makes an investment in a company in a different country, right? So a person or a company from overseas comes and make an investment in the local community in the form of a business, some form of investment. A business, most likely is a business that would benefit them later on. So the whole idea is that a foreign entity enters the local market or the local economy to make an investment, and that is foreign investment as a definition. 2 marks for that one. Explain 2 ways in which foreign investment could have a positive impact on Caribbean countries. And so 2 marks, so that's 3 marks each. And so a lot of people think that foreign direct investment is one of the chief engines for growth in the Caribbean. A lot of companies come in, set up shop, provide, of course, employment. So that's one answer right there. So it could provide a lot of employment in the local economy, because sometimes the unemployment level might be relatively high, and because local investment just doesn't exist, it's just not enough. There's just not enough jobs going around. And so if you bring in a foreign company now to set up shop, they would now bring jobs. And so a reduction in the unemployment rate and an increase in employment is one of the positive impacts that foreign investment can have on our countries. The next one is that, of course, it gives our local economies exposure and access to different varieties of goods. And so you're able to have a wider range, a wider choice in goods when a foreign company brings their foreign flavor to the local economy, because they do things differently, right? And so now we have a wider range to choose from, a larger variety of products to choose from. The market opens up in terms of different availability of resources and things like that. I mean, all of us have seen it. Look at all those franchises that comes into our Caribbean countries. Your KFCs, your Domino's, yeah, they are franchises, but they bring a different resource. They bring a different variety, a different flavor. Yes, we have a local man chicken out there, little barbecue chicken and jerk chicken and stuff, but the flavor different to a KFC, right? So the whole different. You have choices now. You sit down and say, I want some chicken today. variety now. Choose KFC, jerk chicken, whatever. Look at some of those other big box stores where they come in, those warehouse stores. They come in, set up shop, you know, and so you have access to things you might not have had from a mom and pop small stores in certain Caribbean countries. So they open up the market, give them access to more variety of things. Our next benefit is that positive impact is that they tend to bring a different level of quality, right? A different level of quality and standards and experiences, because the way they do things over there might be a little bit more advanced than we do things here. And so they'll come in and train up our local people, train them up, and so they have exposure and experience in how things are done on an international level. And so you raise the standards, you raise the quality offerings and things like that. Like when hotels come in, now farmers have to improve their produce. No longer you can just go and deliver your dirty potato or whatever. You know, you have to nice them up, package them up, grade them, that kind of thing, because that's the quality that these international hotels are accustomed to. And so now we are forced to upgrade our strategy, upgrade what we normally do, up our game. And of course, in a broader sense, we're talking, so that's about 3 we didn't explain. So our next one is that when there's foreign investment, that can broaden the tax base for the government, because the government would charge tax to companies, corporations. And so that can help the government to earn more tax revenue. So that would increase our GDP, because they're going to tax that business and earn more revenue just like that. And you can even take some pressure off the government in the sense that the government doesn't have to increase spending to create jobs. We mentioned employment already, but I'm just spitballing here. You don't have to spend the money to create jobs, because a company comes in, train the staff, give them a job, all that off for the government. But for the government, for sure, increase revenue from taxes would be a very lovely positive impact from direct investment. And so if you explain any of those as I laid them out, you get your 6 marks. And that's the end of the May-June 2022 CSEC POB paper. Remember, keep logged in on the channel, like, subscribe to the channel, share the content. It's free. Just get time you have to spend. And of course, if you want a copy of the textbooks, you can look in not the textbooks, the past papers. The textbooks too, but the past papers are available for free on the Learn SKN storefront. Then you can also look at a package with the past papers and textbooks. You can look at that. And then we have compiled 5 years worth of multiple choice for POB, 5 years for economics, and we have also put the solutions to the back for those multiple choice questions, and you can purchase that booklet if you so desire. Alright, so thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll be back here looking at the 2023 papers.